Welcome, friends. My name is Michael Lerner. 50 years ago, I started Commonweal. I'll introduce my friend and colleague of 40 years, Toby Symington. I will turn it over to Toby to introduce our musical colleagues and just express my deep gratitude to Toby for our friendship and partnership for 40 years. Toby, please.
I want to offer a warm welcome to our third Festival of Sacred Music concert to everyone gathered here and everyone tuning in virtually. And I want to echo what Michael was saying. I really want to thank Monique in particular for making this last-minute adjustment. We were going to have his friend Imam performing on guitar, but Imam was diagnosed with COVID just 2 or 3 days ago. And so thanks to Monique, we have a really fine tabla player, Nilan Chaudhary, and I am so grateful to Nilan for stepping in on such short notice. So, and this will be an amazing concert. So I wanted to. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with Michael and Kira in the New School, and you know, Michael and I have had a long and deep friendship, as he was saying, for more than 40 years. And we've done many collaborations together. I mean, most recently, the Lloyd Simon Foundation and Cancer Choices at Commonweal put on a conference and public forum on what we call New Paradigms in Healing. The focus was on integrative cancer care. And I'll just say one thing about Michael. I could say many. I've shared this before, but I know very, very few people who combine a life of service of the highest distinction over many years, many constituencies and communities here and around the world, combining that with an interior, mystically infused life of great richness and depth. It's a great privilege to have Michael as my friend, and I would say that he was the one who came up with the idea for this festival, one of the many acts of service. So we have, I wanted to just say a few words for those of you here for the first time about our vision for the festival. When we speak of sacred music, we're not thinking of explicitly religious or liturgical music. We're thinking rather of music which can delight, inspire, and elevate the soul, and which can move listeners to the depths of their being. And then the theme of community is also an important one. At a time of widespread social isolation and state-sponsored cruelty, this is a place where folks can come together in warm and congenial surroundings and, meet old friends, make new connections, and where over time, a sangha, or what I like to call a circle of conviviality, can take form. I think it actually is already taking form. And so now we're very fortunate to have two really fine musicians as our guest artists, Monique Khan on sarod, Nilan Chaudhary on tabla, longtime friends, longtime partners. And Monique will be introducing Nilan, but I just want to say a few words about Nilan, who's a superb musician, a master of the tabla. I've had a chance to hear him a couple of times. And his father, Swapan Chaudhary, a legendary figure in the Hindustani community, I had a chance to hear him in concert with Ali Akbar Khan many times. And so we have, the two fathers playing together for many years, and now we have the two sons here playing together who have played and the same instruments, I mean, this is what they call lineage. So Monique is the youngest son of Ali Akbar Khan, a great maestro of Hindustani music. Khan Sahib, as he was affectionately known, was the most extraordinary musician I've come across in my lifetime. His concerts were major events that you did not want to miss. They were many things, but for me, they were initiations into the transcendent. And Manik, as the heir, and I'd say a worthy heir to this illustrious lineage, which goes back, at least 500 years, and which has a number of unique features. For one thing, it has roots in both the two dominant faiths of modern India, Hinduism and Islam, both. And so there's an ecumenical style and sensibility to this lineage. And then for Kansai, a major focus was blending the musical traditions of East and West. Manik is carrying on that legacy and also adding to the legacy in many ways. I mean, when he's performing with Imam, you have the sarod and the guitar. I mean, East and West. So the Ali Akbar College of Music, which Kansai founded more than 50 years ago, has been a big influence on my life. I've attended some incredible concerts there. And over the years, I've gotten to know Manik, who is not only a fine musician, but a wonderful human being. He's always, whenever I show up for the concerts, if Manik is not performing himself, I know I'll be received warmly and graciously. And he's always available to share his deep knowledge of this great musical tradition. So, I would add that, he and his mom, Mary Khan, his older brother, Alam, they are the heart and soul of the college, which is not only a first-class college, but a community, an open-hearted community where everyone is welcome. So, like his dad, Manik is a master of the sarod. And, having as your primary teacher someone who's not only your father, but the greatest sarod player of his generation, that's pretty special. And on the sarod, Manik's virtuosity is the kind which does not draw attention to itself. I mean, yes, of course, there's the technical proficiency, which, as you'll see, is quite amazing. But Manik has a way of penetrating to the raw, vital essence of whatever he's playing. We were having tea several weeks ago, and Manik was talking about his lineage and his relationship to music. And at one point, I asked him, I said, Manik, do you have a meditation practice? And he said, Toby, music is my practice. And from this perspective, I mean, music is a sufficient practice all by itself. And in fact, some will say that music is the quickest way to a direct experience of the Supreme. And for Manik and his lineage, music is not only a vibration of the divine, but it's also a direct path to self-realization. And one of the many things I admire about Manik is his modesty. And performing is never a matter of making a name for himself. On the contrary, it's Manik sees himself as a servant of the music on three distinct levels. One, a servant of the rag or the musical composition, then of the lineage and his distinguished predecessors, most especially his father and his grandfather. And then third, a servant of Saraswati, the goddess of music, learning, wisdom, all the arts, who has been a source of inspiration for so many Hindustani musicians. So, and I forgot to say just a word or two about Nilan. I mean, Manik is going to be introducing Nilan, but Nilan is, I've had a chance to hear him a couple of times. He's a superb musician, a master of the tabla. He and Manik have played many times together, so we're really in for a treat. And the last thing I want to say is that this is, a concert like this is more than a performance. It's a transmission, and which can elevate the soul and evoke states of being like Ananda, one of my favorite Sanskrit words, meaning joy or bliss. So now it's my great pleasure and privilege to introduce to our third concert of sacred music and welcome Manik Khan on the sarod and Nilan Chaudhary on tabla.
Toby, thank you very much for all that. So yeah, namaskar, welcome. My name is Manik, this is Nilan, and we are very, very happy to be a part of the Sacred Festival for today. This was originally going to be, when I talked to Toby about performing, we had talked about having this duet of another friend of ours, Imam Hamdani, on guitar. Totally different from a pure Indian classical standpoint. And so he unfortunately got sick, and Nilan very graciously just kind of came in last minute. So thank you so much for being a part of this and playing. Which changes the whole scope of the music, because then it becomes a Hindustani classical performance. And for those who aren't familiar with this music, there will be, the first kind of beginning will be a section called Alap, which is sort of an invocation. It's sort of, or you could even call it like a sonic prayer, this kind of idea, where you're trying to call out to these melodies, what we call ragas, and we play a particular one. And they're based on the time of day. So you have different melodies for the morning, afternoon, evening, and so on. My father would describe them as entities. So you are sort of introducing them to everyone and trying to pay your respects to them. So the first part is just the instrumentalist or vocalist. And then after this, Nilan will join on tabla. One of the beautiful parts of this music is that it's not fixed. And so the music we play is created within the moment. It's within a structure, but each time is going to be something else. And so every time you play, it's never the same. I've been thinking about, what to play for this time of day. So I'm going to play an afternoon raga. What we'll start with is one called Rag Bimpalashri. I think one thing that I just wanted to mention that Toby just brought up for a moment was this concept of like Islam and Hinduism and the way that the music functions, because this is Hindustani classical music, is how it's often referred to. But for hundreds of years with the Mughal Empire, when the Persian influence came into India, they brought in so many aspects that changed the music to present day. And it's not a completely different style, but all these things sort of morphed together. And so you had this whole kind of confluence where a lot of Islamic musicians were playing Hindustani classical music. And so you had this thing where in some cases it could be haram, where it would be seen as almost sinful to play music in this way. You had these individuals who would then be like praising Hindu deities and things, and not having any kind of concept of it being separate from one another, that this sort of devotion to the sound is what became sort of the most, or at least one of the most potent aspects. So there's a saying that I love called Nada Brahma, and it basically means that sound is divine, or music is divine. Not even the term necessarily of, it doesn't have to be divinity, it's a power that is something else. And my brother and I, we used to always wonder, because our last name is Khan, so we'd ask our father, our grandfather was a devout Muslim, but we grew up with all of these Hindu aspects in our life, and so it was like, what are we? And so our father would say that, it's not about the religion, if anything, it's the music. That's the spiritual path. And so when we play, it is this means of ultimately a form of self-realization. you know, this music, my father's thing was you do not need to know anything about music to enjoy it. It's an intuitive aspect, so just allow it to do its thing and just hopefully enjoy it. But the ragas themselves have different feelings and emotions sort of ascribed to them. So this one called Bimpalashri is filled with like aspects of devotion, pathos, this form of detachment, because it's meant to be as the sun is setting and all the animals will like stand around watching the setting sun and thinking of finding home and shelter for the evening. So you'll find animals like with tears in their eyes is the idea. I think we'll start in the rhythm with a 16-beat rhythmic cycle called Tintal. It's kind of open, so we may pause in between to retune. This instrument has 25 strings, and it's made of wood, metal, and skin, same as the drums, and they're very sensitive to all the shiftings in temperature, or body heat, all this. We'll just tune up real quick, and then we'll start. Thank you all so much again, and I hope you enjoy. One last thing, sorry. So generally there's another instrument that's with us called a tanpura, which is a drone. So we have, you know, slight move into the technological age. It's a little different from my ancestors, but we have a recording of the instrument. So this is this drone back there, accompanied by the digital beeps of a Bluetooth speaker. So it works out.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this first piece was in what's called Rag Bimpalashri, this afternoon raga, this melody. So, you know, the music itself goes from slow to faster till it hits these bigger crescendos. So even when the story of the rag is about them trying to find, you know, a place to go home and sleep, and there's aspects of like detachment and longing, and all this love, but the music itself starts to get more exciting and fast as it goes. So either they're very excited to get home, I guess, or it kind of shifts, or it has to do with those that are nocturnal creatures, and maybe they're excited for the beginning of their day, and that's where it starts to pick up energy. So we'll conclude with just a smaller piece. I'm not sure what rag. Maybe. I'll start tuning, and then I'll find one in there, and we'll start. We'll play just a shorter item. Yeah, you know what? Just for the aspects of it's a beautiful day, and so there is a rainy season rag. And as we're entering into the monsoons, basically, you know, as monsoons have happened in India, and as it's you know, this is a powerful time of the year. There's a rainy season melody, so maybe we'll tune to this. It's called Desh, and we'll play in a rhythm cycle that is either 7 beats or it'll be a 16 beat with a swing. We'll see what comes out. But let me tune quickly for the sake of time, and we'll hop into this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Don't take it, don't, don't take it, don't, don't take it, don't, don't take it, don't, don't take it, don't take it, don't take it, don't